Everyone wants a second chance after a mistake, a second chance after a wrong decision, a second chance after something falls apart. But life doesn't always give us a perfect reset button. Instead, life gives us something different: failure. And most people see failure as the end of a story. But leadership expert John C. Maxwell offers a very different perspective. Failure is only the opportunity to begin again if you learn from it. Notice the two most important words in that sentence: if you learn. Because failure by itself doesn't guarantee improvement. Some people fail once and grow wiser. Others fail the same way again and again. The difference is not intelligence. The difference is reflection. Failure becomes valuable only when it becomes education. So today, we're going to explore something deeper than motivation. We're going to explore the hidden opportunity inside failure. How mistakes become teachers. How setbacks become redirection. And why the people who succeed in life are rarely the ones who avoid failure, but the ones who learn from it faster than everyone else. Why failure feels like the end. When something fails, the emotional response is immediate: disappointment, embarrassment, doubt. The brain interprets failure as a threat. It feels like a signal that something about us is not good enough. So the instinctive reaction is avoidance. People withdraw. They stop trying. They change direction too quickly. But here's the problem. When we treat failure as an ending, we miss its most valuable function. Failure is not designed to stop progress. It's designed to redirect it. Imagine navigating with a GPS. If you take the wrong turn, the GPS doesn't say, "Journey canceled." It simply recalculates the route. Failure works the same way, but only if you stay on the journey. The difference between failing and learning. Many people assume failure automatically leads to learning, but that assumption is incorrect. Failure alone teaches nothing. Experience alone teaches nothing. Reflection teaches. Learning happens when we pause long enough to ask, what exactly went wrong? What assumption did I make? What skill was missing? What decision should change next time? Without those questions, failure simply repeats. The same mistake, the same frustration, the same disappointment. But when reflection enters the process, failure transforms. It becomes a teacher. And teachers, even difficult ones, exist to improve us. Why successful people restart faster. Look at the most accomplished people in any field. Entrepreneurs, athletes, scientists, creators. You'll notice something unusual about them. They restart quickly. They fail, analyze, adjust, and begin again. While others spend months recovering emotionally, they spend days learning strategically. This ability creates momentum, because improvement is not about avoiding mistakes. It's about shortening the time between attempt and adjustment. The faster someone learns from failure, the faster they evolve. That's why Maxwell's quote emphasizes beginning again. Success is rarely about perfect decisions. It's about persistent iteration, trying, learning, trying again. The hidden information inside failure. Failure is one of the most honest forms of feedback. Success sometimes hides weaknesses, but failure exposes them. It reveals what didn't work, what wasn't ready, what skill needs development, what assumption was incorrect. And that information is extremely valuable. Imagine trying to improve at something without feedback. Progress would be slow and uncertain. Failure accelerates clarity. It tells us where attention must go next, and clarity is the starting point of mastery. The emotional challenge of learning from failure. Although failure provides information, emotions can block learning. Pride resists criticism. Fear resists risk. Embarrassment resists reflection. So many people rush past failure too quickly. They blame circumstances. They blame other people. Or they simply move on without analyzing the experience. But learning requires humility. It requires the courage to look honestly at what happened, not with self-judgment, but with curiosity. Curiosity transforms failure from something threatening into something useful. It changes the question from, "Why did this happen to me?" to, "What can this teach me?" The restart principle. Maxwell's quote contains an important idea. Failure is an opportunity to begin again. Not the same way, a better way. This is the restart principle. Every meaningful achievement is built through restarts. A writer rewrites. An entrepreneur relaunches. An athlete trains differently after losing. Each restart contains improvement, and those improvements accumulate over time. Eventually, something remarkable happens. The person who once failed repeatedly becomes the person others call experienced. Experience is simply the memory of many lessons learned from failure. The courage to try again. Starting again requires courage, because every new attempt contains uncertainty. It may work, it may fail again. But people who succeed understand something important. Progress is impossible without risk, and risk always contains the possibility of failure. Yet every attempt increases understanding. Every effort sharpens skill. Every lesson improves strategy. Eventually, the odds begin to shift. What once felt impossible begins to feel manageable. What once felt uncertain begins to feel familiar. This is the quiet power of persistence, combined with learning. Turning failure into opportunity. So how do we actually apply this idea? A simple three-step reflection can transform failure into opportunity. After any setback, ask, 1. What worked? Even in failure, some parts of the effort were effective. Recognizing them preserves progress. 2. What didn't work? Identify the specific mistake or weakness. Clarity prevents repetition. 3. What will I change next time? This turns reflection into action. Without this step, learning remains theoretical. With it, improvement begins immediately. Over time, these small adjustments produce dramatic results, not overnight, but inevitably. Failure has a strange reputation. People treat it like a verdict, a final judgment about their ability. But according to John C. Maxwell, failure is something very different. It's a doorway, a reset point, an opportunity to begin again, but only if we choose to learn. Because failure without learning becomes repetition. failure with learning becomes progress. So the next time something doesn't work out, pause before calling it the end. Ask yourself one simple question. What is this moment trying to teach me? Because hidden inside that answer might be the exact insight that leads you forward, not away from failure, but through it, toward a wiser beginning.